So we're going to go through a few topics today. So today's questions, and we'll kind of see where they take us, but this is where we'll start from. We're going to be talking about which parts of social media should be done on ClickUp, what the best overall tech stack is, how to set up ClickUp for social media management. We'll see if we can get through an example if we have time, and then how much of the workflow should be automated, and then we'll go to your questions at the end. So that's the general layout of today. And who I have with me is Yvonne. There's some details of her here. She's got a website, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. She is, of course, over all the social medias and she teaches them. We'll put the screen back up at the end as well. For now, I'm just going to stop sharing. And we can jump into it. So first of all, Yvonne, welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Been doing ClickUp for a while, so let's see if we can shed some light on social media in ClickUp. Justin, you know me, I have a couple passionate opinions on what you might want to do in ClickUp and not want to do. So it'll be an interesting webinar. You guys are going to have fun.
Awesome. And actually, I just totally forgot, but I had a little intro for you here. So I'll do that bit. So for anyone who doesn't know Yvonne already, so I've known Yvonne for a long time, back in the day when I first started with ClickUp.
Back in the 1.0 days.
Yeah, way back. So back in the day, it was basically me and Yvonne. She was the other main kind of ClickUp consultant working with ClickUp at that point. So Yvonne is a ClickUp and business efficiency consultant, particularly focusing on live streamers, social media managers, YouTubers, and coaches. And she uses her 12 years of experience running multiple businesses, including a pub, from what I've heard, to help her clients organize, strengthen, and streamline their businesses for profitability and success. So awesome.
Oh yeah,
glad to have you with us.
That pub was a little while ago. Yeah. Still love that energy.
Awesome. Well, look, I wanted to get straight into it. So my first question, and this is one that has been interesting around social media, either content or ads for a long time. All the social media platforms are platforms. So you basically end up with content on that platform. So the question is, why use ClickUp at all? Why not just work directly on those platforms? What is the benefit of ClickUp at all when working with social media?
The benefit in that case, in this case, we're talking social media today. So it's the task management piece of things. Yes, we need to get the content out there. Yes, we need to get it scheduled, but it takes time to get there. So it doesn't matter if you're a solopreneur, you're running business for yourself and you're running your own social media. If you are a social media manager or boutique agency or the big agency, we'll get to some setup with that. It comes down to getting into the habit and actually doing the task. As you guys know, you need to write the content, you need to get the images done, you actually need to get it out. And we all know it's this whole, oh yeah, right, have I scheduled next week yet? Especially solopreneurs when we do all the things. That task management, that due date setting, that keeping you accountable, that planning your week, that's where ClickUp comes in. If we go a level higher, the approval process, when graphic design and all of that comes in with ClickUp's feature of being able to comment on attachments, that is perfect. In Instagram, one of the questions came up where the graphic design aspect happens as a task within ClickUp. And if you have a multiple team, the bigger you grow, the more team is going to be involved in every piece of content. Having that approval feature in there, having the capability of scaling from solopreneur to boutique and being able, here, tasks are already there, just hand it off to somebody and assign it to somebody. So the actual task management versus the post going out and the analytics.
So what I'm hearing is kind of like ClickUp is where you do the actual work of getting everything organized before it's ready to be posted to the platform.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Well, in that case, let's talk a little bit about tech stack then. So I know you've got thoughts on this. Once you've kind of done all the work in ClickUp, you've got a post, you've got the graphic, the text, it's all ready to go. When and how do you manually or automatically get that into the different platforms?
Justin is already setting me up because he knows my opinion on it. We had the question already before in the Q&A. If you have been around right in the beginning, you heard it. Content and all of the actual tasks happening in ClickUp, what I am not a big fan of is actually scheduling out of ClickUp, meaning setting up an automation and automatically sending it out, simply because every piece of content, it would be a task in ClickUp. So meaning every time a new post gets automatically scheduled out, there is a possibility for an issue. There is a possibility for an automation not working. There's schedulers out there that do way much better than trying to make this happen with a tool like Integrally, Integromat, Zapier, all of the automation tools that are out there. For me, in my tech stack, no matter if it's just me and my business or if it's my agency clients all the way through, I love a GoUpHolds simply because it's ClickUp in a scheduling tool, meaning the task management and the team management is happening in ClickUp. Everything is there. We then bulk generate the content. So usually in an Excel spreadsheet, if you want to go with that, or an Airtable, we want to end up with a CSV file that has all of our content. And that's when then GoUpHolds comes in with a bulk upload where literally we are just scheduling the whole month. And I can show the embed too, where we are just bulk scheduling the whole month. And if you are working with clients, a GoUpHolds has an approval feature built in. So just like how we can run an approval in our ClickUp with certain things and the task management, a GoUpHolds is like the twin sister to ClickUp when it comes to scheduling and being able to run that full-on workflow from uploading the content, getting it approved by the client, getting it internally approved, scheduling it, and getting all of the analytics with it. So those two to me just belong together. And what I can show you, the nice thing, a little bonus at, go ahead.
Sorry, can I jump in? So
Yeah,
it sounds like you're not automating from ClickUp to a GoUpHolds. You're downloading a CSV out of ClickUp.
Correct.
And then bulk uploading that. And then from a GoUpHolds, it kind of automatically goes out to all the different social media platforms. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay, cool.
I am a fan. I love automation. I'm the first one. If I can automate something, I will automate it, but not at the downturn of efficiency. Again, I completely get the draw of wanting to automate this. But when you look, let me first switch my camera. I brought that up for you. So a GoUpHolds also nicely plays with ClickUp in a way that we can embed this in a view. You literally can just go in and we do the regular embed and you just use the URL of a GoUpHolds.com and embed it in here. That's all this is. I can schedule from here. I can do the bulk publishing from here. I can see, as you can tell, my content calendar is right in here without screwing anything up with actionable tasks in ClickUp. So this is my content calendar. I know that question comes up a lot too. How do I build a content calendar in ClickUp? I actually don't. It's in my SOP. This is the type of content that goes out on Monday. This is what goes out on Tuesday, just the rough idea of the content. And what really happens is happening right here in a GoUpHolds.
Okay, cool. Just a note, your screen is a little bit blurry there, but I think we get the general idea. So that's really helpful. Thank you. So what does the workflow look like then? So in terms of getting it to the point where it's ready to be exported and imported into GoUpHolds, how do you set up ClickUp to get to that point? So
let's see. I know you said we are a little bit blurry. Let's hope it comes through good enough. There comes a little bit the difference in between big agency and just solopreneur. And I roughly laid out, actually, let me show you the whimsical for a second first. This is what I do with my clients on figuring out how do we want ClickUp to actually look. And we really just wireframe the whole thing. And what's going to be interesting to you is the setup, the different setup between quote agency and then solopreneurs and social media managers. With an agency, with the amount of people that potentially work on the task, with the depth of task, with the amount of tasks, the amount of layouts and all of the things, we go into a structure most of the time where the client actually becomes the space. The client becomes the space. Folder level is the whole admin. We use a brand folder as a resource folder that usually gets hidden in any task views. Client hub, if you want to bring the client in, and then the magic starts happening with your departments. That's where you decide how do you want to set this up. In this case, we had a traffic department, we had a creative department, we had support services, and then the lists underneath are the actual platforms. Now, this is a lot. If you are just running social media for yourself or small clients where not all of these things happening at the same time, a setup like this is easier manageable. As you can see, the top part, the admin areas in that is the same, but where the differentiation is we have a client space, and then each client is a folder with the other stuff underneath. And as you can tell, a lot happens social media in itself. That happens because we have seen the best impact for social media clients when we start with the video piece and we work ourselves down. So pretty much no matter if that is on social media, if that is on YouTube or whatever, that one video becomes that main task in ClickUp, that everything else happens underneath.
Okay.
Now,
can I just pause you there for a little bit, Yvonne?
Yep.
Can we just get a bit of a kind of real close-up zoom through of that flow chart, just so we can kind of see if we can get a bit more legibility. So you kind of, am I right in saying you broke this down by the different types? So here is like, this is the kind of individual doing it for yourself workflow, or?
Yes, this is a common setup for the boutique agencies are between the agency, quote, agency template, where each client is a space. And then smaller boutique agency, or when you're running your own social media, we have found this setup to be the best one to really stay on top of it without losing anything or being overwhelmed with it.
Great. Okay. And could you zoom up to that larger diagram you had as well?
Let's grab one piece. So you get the idea of client as spaces. So each and every one of your clients becomes a space in itself. So we pretty much take that whole structure just one level up, and then the folder underneath. So yeah, the folder underneath. Let's just zoom in on one. That should help right there. The folder underneath is either way your department. So it could be, in this case, the client I built this for was an agency that focuses on traffic, that focuses on supporting services, as well as creative. And in the creative also comes that approval process, and that I mentioned earlier, where in the graphic design piece, when they are building all the graphics, when they're building the Instagram graphics or landing pages, I'm like, agencies become so big, where they use the attachment comment feature to run through approvals in combination with stages to make sure where in the process that piece of content is.
Okay, awesome.
Cool. On a side note, just because it came up, I do work a lot with stages and really keeping the statuses in itself actionable, just to be able to say, okay, somebody's working on it or not, those are your statuses. And where in the process is this piece of content? That's where we usually use a drop-down menu to set up certain stages, like, okay, we are in development now, we are in testing phase, we are in launch phase, those kind of things.
Okay. Do you have an example of that you could show us? That might be an ask.
I did set up for you, just so my clients don't shoot me with my NDA. I did set up, let me see if I can zoom in on this, as I am now on Mac and I don't know how to zoom in on Mac. Oh, yes, I do. Look at that. Learn something new. This is pretty much the agency setup in the wild, meaning each agency client gets their own space, the folders underneath, admin pieces, brand assets. Again, brand assets is a resource list. Those are not actionable tasks. Usually those are, hey, here is the brand with a link to the brand. Hey, here are the hex colors and all of that, just so it's easily accessible to the whole team. Client Hub, if you want to bring them in, as you saw in the wireframing, the traffic one, then with the lists underneath. I have too many. There we go. That is one. That is one that's similar. This is actually mine, so you get to see what's coming up in on the YouTube channel. I have a marketing space, and then we have folders underneath. So here you get a little bit of view for content creators, and if you're running your own social media. This is why I was so excited that the poll came back, that a lot of you are running your own social media, because I'm handling it a little bit different. I'm doing everything. I want more sorting. So in this case, again, everything starts with a YouTube video, no matter if recorded or live, my collection of ideas, the ones that I'm working on. And then I have an automation set up actually through Integrately that pulls in every single video that has been published and pulls in all of that information there too, because we take that YouTube video and then make content out of that video.
So like the post-processing to kind of take out clips and then share that in different methods. Okay.
And then one automation, I know everybody always loves automation. One automation that we do in here, let me go up to the high level, is I have connected these content stages into an automation. And why doesn't that show? When I change this, it should be, but I don't know why it doesn't show up there. The moment I hit that block, it should move its way over there into block. But for whatever reason, I don't know why the automation doesn't show. It's a really simple automation where you say when the custom field changes to something, then move it into a list. If you want to double it up, you also can, rather than moving it into the list, duplicate the task into another list too. So that's possible too.
So you're kind of keeping things organized, making sure everything's in the right list automatically.
Yeah.
Let's hone in a little bit then on the hierarchy structure for the different types of use case. You've already gone over it, but just to make sure that I'm clear. So if you are doing social media for yourself, you probably have a space called social media. And then
social media, marketing, whatever you want to call it. Yes, correct.
Okay, yep. And then in that space, do you have folders for the different types of different platforms? So you got like YouTube there, Facebook.
In this specific case, because everything is based on YouTube, it's actually, YouTube is the big collection of getting those videos done, having those ideas. That's where most of it's happening. Social media becomes really, really simple.
Right.
It's a recurring task of social media content creation that recurs every month, where in my case, I'm blessed with a great VA. She knows what to do, where every month she knows by the 20th, this content needs to be uploaded by to Agora polls and needs to be scheduled and sent to me for approval, which is why I just love that marriage between Agora polls and ClickUp so much, because it's efficient on both ends. You can go farther with this. So if you are working with a VA that's new, if you are working with a bigger team, make use of those subtasks. But in the end, it comes down to create the content, attach your SOP with it. If you have your SOPs in ClickUp documents or in Google Drive, sometimes just embed it on top. have those SOPs stored somewhere that you can update easily and embed it into the task. So when the process changes, you don't have to change the whole task. You only change the document, and because it's embedded in the task, it updates automatically.
Mm-hmm. So this kind of recurring task is where you'd have, say you had a new team and you have to kind of show, hey, here are the steps of doing some content creation. This recurring task is where you'd have all those steps. So each month you come into this task and create some new content.
Correct. So how we handle specific task management, and I saw the question pop up, what is an SOP? SOP stands for Standard Operating Procedure. So how do we do something? Where do I need to go? How do I upload it? How do I schedule it? All of that written out. We usually use Loom videos in there too, and all the recording things, and build out this roadmap and this how-to for the team on how to do it. Now, I know right now we cannot across the border update subtasks, which is why I keep the task as simple as possible of schedule it, create the content, get it done, as simple as possible as it's possible with your team, and have additional helping documents, the standard operating procedures, more knowledge embedded up here. That gives you the workaround of adjusting your process of how something is done within the task of the actual doing it, without having to go in and updating all of these tasks that might be already out there for content creation.
And could you show us the triple at as how to embed that document?
Sure. Let me open that up in a new one. It is really simple. I usually grab the URL. Let's just grab this puppy right there. You got, and this is, as you can tell, we are working on all of that. You have the share document. I try to stay away from share with the location, by the way, when you're building documents, simply because you can run into issues when you are moving the location, deleting the location to suddenly lose your documents. So I try to not link them right now. I know ClickUp is working on a couple of things. Sorry, multitasking here. I set it to public, I copy the link. In this case, the link totally works. And you do the /, you start typing embed, and then you really just put the URL there. And now suddenly we have, let me make that bigger. Why can I not make that bigger? We can resize usually. I know we can resize. So you gotta love a live webinar when nothing works as it should be.
Yeah. So what Yvonne's doing here is basically making the document public and then embedding that so you can see it without having to click into it. Like it's all the content's already there. The other way of doing this is to basically just link to the document. So you have a small link, and then people can click on it and then read it. So both ways work.
Yep.
Cool. Okay. That's really good. Now, kind of jumping back a little bit. So I think we understand how that works for kind of doing social media for yourself. How does that differ with doing it for a company? Is it basically the same workflow?
Yeah, we are handling asset management the same exact way. The tasks itself just become more specialized, where in a social media management setup or myself, every piece of content is usually one task. In an agency setup, chances are, especially when it's not just social media, but landing pages, you have multiple tasks running at the same time. You have the content writing, because you got your SEO specialized, NLP, Todd, content writer that is just making everything perfect. And then you have your graphics department that is taking care of that. In the case of landing pages, you also got the developer going on. It just becomes bigger. So rather than just go create the content, now it suddenly becomes develop the website, build the graphics content, do the photo shoot, do the video shoot, do the edit. it becomes more tasks specifically in that workflow rather than one task with a couple subtasks.
Okay, yep. So you kind of have either like a couple of social media tasks and then additional tasks on the side, maybe in another list, or maybe you have them all together depending on what you're doing. Okay. And then for the large agency, we kind of already talked about, that's where you start dividing up where each space is its own client and you kind of have that whole workflow per client. Okay, cool.
Yeah,
that
you
makes sense
pretty
to
much
me.
you pretty much just double it up.
Yeah.
One of the big things when I bring on agency clients and help them get set up, what often happens is the team is like, but I don't want to see everything. With many other vetted consultants, we had this conversation of, okay, should I approach a project client-based or department-based? That conversation has been going on for a long time. And between many of us vetted consultants, the best way we have seen to approach it is to build your ClickUp structure based on the client, like I showed you, and then build custom views. So let me screen share so you guys have a visual for this too. So yes, we do have traffic right here. So now suddenly you're going to have agency client 1, agency client 2, and agency client 3 to 50. You might want to, on that everything level right on top, set a custom view. Let's just use that list. That's what we got. That's what we got a sandbox for. That custom view, now when your department says, hey, I want to see all of the clients with their traffic stuff, you go in here and you set a location filter that is, and you go through each client. So this becomes part of your onboarding process when you bring in your client, and you choose that client and the traffic folder. And you do that same for client B and client C and client D. So make this a part of your onboarding when you bring on a new client. The other thing is the team might be wanting to only see everything that's going on in Facebook and Instagram. Same thing, but rather than choosing the folder, you just choose the Facebook and Instagram list. So that's how we handle being able to see everything and client-based, which we have found is easier to track workload and all of that fun stuff, but also giving your department and your team what they want to see.
Okay, so even though we're organizing per client, so if you click on a single space, you can see all the stuff for one client.
Yep.
If your team only cares about, say, Instagram, they can still create the view the way you did with the location and just see all the Instagram tasks across all the clients. So you kind of get to have both at once. Okay, that's awesome. I might jump into next question then. So it'd be great to go through an example. So let's say we're setting up social media for me, which is a relevant question. I'm terrible at it and have none. So say I want to start a campaign for my business. I want to start pushing out content once a month on the major social media platforms. Where do I start? Really vague.
By getting your idea. So without doing any screen share right now, how we approach content creation in general, especially when it comes to Justin or social media managers in general. You guys, we are creative people, pretty much all of us. And the ideas come in the worst moments, either way, right before falling asleep or right after waking up, or let's be honest, in the shower, right? With my social media managers, what I do is we actually set up a process of collecting all of those ideas. I don't care if it's you, if it's your client, you're walking with the dog, you know how those ideas come. We don't want to lose them. Take whatever you have, but set up a task once a day or once a week to collect those pieces of ideas wherever you save them. If that is a voice message, if that is a notebook next to your bed, if that is a waterproof note in your shower. But set that habit up of pulling those in and getting them in here. I then start taking those ideas and I actually start in a document. I do not start in a task. I throw them in a document, and that's where the brainstorming for the client or me starts. which of those ideas are actually valid, which of those ideas fit the brand, fit the voice, what are we taking this, can we use this for another client? And we're using that collection document as the brainstorming idea. And then the moment we say, yep, that's it, and my YouTubers are going to know this, you need to research the keywords and all of that, that making that decision, this is really a valid piece of content, that's then bring it on.
Yeah, sorry. Okay, so I'm just making sure I'm keeping up here. So I'm doing it for myself. So I've got a space called either social media or marketing. In that space, I've got a list called ideas. So I'm going to dump stuff. On that space, I've also got a doc view where I kind of start to actually pull in the research and the data so that I'm actually validating those ideas. Okay, cool. So I'm with you.
Perfect.
What next?
I need to bring you on my live show. It's like you round me perfectly up. When I get all excited, I tend to be all over the place.
You're good. Oh, good.
We got the ideas collected. We got the ideas validated. Now we are going with this. And this is where it changes a little bit between bigger agency and small social media. In my case, I do a brainstorming session with my VA and we go through what are we focusing on this week and everything. And it happens all in one task. We have a spreadsheet where the actual content goes in, just so we have a CSV file that we can bulk upload for the whole month. But it's a spreadsheet where the first row is the actual social media post. We then have which day it's supposed to go out, which time it's supposed to go out, and we have the images with it. We do it this way rather than the task approach in ClickUp, simply because it's like, we clean it up, we check it out, is things right? Do we need to move it around? Cool, everything is done in the spreadsheet. We take that CSV and bulk upload it to a GoUp and schedule this thing.
Okay, so you're saying that you don't actually create tasks in ClickUp and then export it into CSV. You just go straight from the ideas to CSV.
Yeah, not in the small setup, the agency setup. And if you want to take it that way, totally. But in the agency setup, it becomes different. So in the agency setup, they also plan way farther out than me just for next week, right? They are planning out months in advance. Where we set up, one piece we are doing different in the agency setup is we have a custom field that makes sure it's one of the topics we want to talk about. So we decided on the pillar content before, meaning what are those main categories we want to talk about? What is the type of content? Is it going to be a quote? Is it going to be a piece of video? There is another custom field. And then those tasks in itself, yes, they become separate tasks in ClickUp, because what type of content is it? If it's a type of video content, I need to send out the video team to record that content, or it needs to be edited because the client sent us this content. Cool. Now we have somebody else that is building that thumbnail. Now we have a task for the thumbnail generation with the approval method in the attachment. So with the agency, because so many more people are involved and so many different departments are involved, it becomes way bigger. And that's when we do bring tasks in. Yes.
Okay. So for small scale, the process might be short enough. You can just jump straight from ideas to spreadsheet. And you're basically just chucking in, here are the name, picture, date, that's it, good to go. Yeah. But in the agency setup, because the process is likely longer and more people involved, you basically need task management in that creation process. So you're likely to have tasks in various lists in ClickUp. So, okay, so to ground this in my use case, so let's say, I don't actually right now, but let's say I hire a VA who's going to do a bunch of this for me. So it's me and a VA. So I've got a bunch of ideas in my doc. I think in my case, I would create tasks. Say I'm working with a VA. So say, okay, let's create one task per content piece. And here are the steps for the VA to go through. Okay, great. And then we end up with the name in the title, the content in the description, and a picture in the attachment. And we export that into CSV. At that point, yeah, all these subtasks are finished. All the work's been done. Cool. And now from there, it's just kind of into Agorapulse and then out to social media. Is that kind of the rest of the workflow, or is there more steps?
Now, if you want to go deeper into workflow and quote content creation, I just pulled that up while you were talking. Hadn't planned on it, but it will help explain it even a little bit more. So often enough, when you really drill down on content creation, repurposing content, making the most of what's happening out there and the content you are producing for yourself or your client, we have a specific workflow on what we do with the actual content. So again, we're starting out with a video. I mentioned that before.
And can we get a close zoom in here?
That video, if my trackpad would work how it's supposed to, there we go. We are starting with a video. Again, it doesn't matter if it's a YouTube video, if it's a live show, whatever. That is one task. As you saw, I specifically handle this through 3 different lists, from idea to working on to published. Mm-hmm. That video gets turned into short micro videos, the whole Instagram story, TikTok reel, whatever it is. As you can see, you can reuse those shorts anywhere and everywhere. Those micro short becomes another task in your ClickUp. So YouTube video, that is one task. The production of the YouTube video, the optimization, your script, everything is housed in one task in ClickUp. Once that is done and in the published list, we have additional, how many ever micro content you want to do, additional tasks that are specifically to the micro content. You might even want to use a tag on where do you want to share them, or add a check mark custom field to it to have you shared them, just to keep a little extra track on it. Underneath that YouTube video task, there's a subtask for the transcription cleanup. So these kind of happen simultaneously because you want to get the transcription up once before you actually launch the YouTube video. Sending that automated over to Temi, grabbing that transcription, letting the VA know in the subtask of that content piece in your ClickUp, hey, you need to clean up the transcription and you need to upload it back to YouTube. Now, taking that transcription, it becomes, or it can become, another task for social media posts, meaning we take that piece of text and we are pulling out quotes. We are pulling out actual social media post descriptions. There's so many things you can pull out of these transcriptions and turn them into pieces of content again. You can have this within that subscription task, or say, you know what, there is more work that goes into, let's make them separate tasks too. That comes down to you on how many people are involved in the task, and it really is personal to you. Me, myself, we keep it in the transcription task as a secondary subtask to handle that, just because we are 2 people rather than 3 people. Then in this whole workflow, taking those videos and those transcriptions, turning them into your blog post so that things are going on in there too, as well as, same with the transcription again, building those handbooks. Blog post, personal. Do you want to have that as a subtask to the transcription? Do you want to make them your own?
Sorry, when you say handbook, do you mean SOP or what is that?
Coming to that. Perfect. Okay. So when we are generating content for ourselves or for clients, we want to do something with this, right? We don't just want to blare it out there. We want to be able to either way get an email, get an engagement, get something for the audience out of this. And the best way to do that is a simple checklist with your blog post. So 5 reasons why you should use ClickUp. Cool. The YouTube video is out. The blog post is written. Now give people a checklist to, yep, I implemented that in ClickUp. Yes, I done this. Yes, I done that. It's an easy way to give added value, but it also allows you, when you take those small little pieces of content and then combine them in a course. Now suddenly, okay, 5 reasons you should use ClickUp, how to do your social media on ClickUp, and how to take care of clients in ClickUp now suddenly can become a course of ClickUp for content creators. No, ClickUp for coaches. There you go. Combining those pieces of content again in one. In this specific case, the moment you hit this course piece right here, I would make this its own folder. because this course right there now will be generating more pieces of content too. You're pulling from the old one, but chances are you're going to have a whole bunch of pieces of content in there too. And you want to keep track that you are updating everything and all of the fun stuff. So courses in itself, plug that in as a folder and then have a list underneath of needs to be updated, maintained, that kind of fun stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then last but not least, take your actual pillar content, you know, the fancy stuff, the stuff you want to be known for, not just the, I don't want to say getting started, but there's a lot of content we need to put out there to educate people. And then we have our pillar content that's like, this really needs to get out there, and rewriting it a little bit and getting it out on Medium in the LinkedIn article.
Mm-hmm. So basically you're starting out with an idea and kind of creating all the video content. So because you're predominantly video based, I'm much the same. Other people might be different, but we start with video and then we take that into short clips, post them in a bunch of different places, take the transcript of that video and post that in a bunch of different places as, you know, useful text information, either quotes or helpful stuff, and then kind of merging that text into blog posts, checklists, potentially even working on long-term turning it into a course, and then kind of doing kind of key thought leader pieces either on Medium or LinkedIn. So from one kind of initial concept, all the different mediums, I suppose, you're covering there.
Yeah.
And you do that kind of starting out in one list with the video, and then potentially subtasks or multiple tasks within that one list. And then once you start getting to particularly courses and such, kind of having its own separate location for it.
Yeah, definitely. When
right?
you get to the point of courses, you want to have that in a separate folder, because there's also going to come additional admin tasks of you need to maintain that course. No matter how evergreen your content is, it needs more work than just, okay, we need a new image. You want to set a recurring task in there that says, hey, revisit the course and clean it up. Now, with that, because I mentioned Evergreen, there is a huge possibility right here. If your content is evergreen, to use something, again, I use AgoUp Holds as the example. AgoUp Holds has evergreen scheduling. So you actually, and I know a lot of other tools have too. If you have evergreen content, think of it as topic related blocks and throw them in as evergreen and repeat them. We all know how fast content is happening right now. So that's, again, where a scheduler comes in of, I don't just want to use one piece of content one time. If I have a YouTube video that I can drive traffic to for the next 3 months without it being outdated, okay, I talk about ClickUp, that's going to be outdated in 3 months. But you get the point, where we can throw it literally just in a queue and it can repopulate itself and show back up, because chances are the viewer that's seen it the first time hasn't seen it the second time, or the other way around.
Okay, awesome. All right, I want to keep moving here just because we want to get to some questions. So last question, I think. Yeah. We've talked a little bit about automation, but I want to specifically focus on when is it right to automate and when is it right to keep it manual?
So in this specific case, pulling in tasks, so building the content as a task and pulling it in automatically, I am not a big fan, because you're going to have 30 pieces of content into how many different outlets potentially. Now add that up and see how often potentially something can go wrong. With that, I don't want to automate that. Things like when the YouTube video turns into a blog post and using that custom field to automatically move that over, go for it. Automatically assigning people to certain tasks, I'm all for it. The other thing that I had mentioned before is I use Integrately, and I use Integrately to pull in my YouTube video back as a task. I do that because there's a lot of optimization and SEO on YouTube happening and everything. The task in ClickUp is not going to be 100% what's actually going to be on YouTube, because I use something like TubeBuddy to optimize SEO. I will stop there. But because it's a differentiation between the actual task that it was and the video, what I'm doing is I am using, in this case, Integrately to, let's open up that automation, actually that one. When a video is created, and I need to talk to YouTube, they blocked me again. When a video is created in YouTube, it creates a task in ClickUp. ClickUp specifically, I love either way, Integrately or Integromat, because they easily work with custom fields in ClickUp, meaning I can pull in my workspace, in the space of marketing, in my folder of YouTube, in the list of publish. Cool. As you can tell, my automation broke again. This is why I don't want you to automate actual content out of ClickUp. If this would be working right, I would be pulling in the description from the YouTube video too. As you can see right there, we can add the description right there. That is the title. I have a custom field, or not, there it is. I have a custom field in here that first of all has the YouTube link. So it pulls in the YouTube link too, so we easily can link back to it, as well as published on YouTube. There is somewhere a custom field that says published on YouTube. And that's the reason why I use Integrally. I am still working on the API integration in Integromat. Google is giving me a little bit some headaches right now because it doesn't want to talk to the API. But yeah, as you've seen, it's like that automation has run for the last 3 weeks, no problem. And now I'm going in and I have an error message again with YouTube. This is exactly the reason why I'm like, please just don't. There is so many great scheduling tools. There's so many ways to really save you time still. I wouldn't automate it.
Okay, so because it's so complex, changing the format of different posts from video to text, it's easier to do it manually in a kind of a bulk efficient way.
Yeah.
And for anyone watching who's not familiar with Integrately, basically the same as Zapier. A key complaint that us consultants have with the Zapier ClickUp integration is that it doesn't access custom fields. Very frustrating. So we have a tendency to kind of go out to these slightly newer platforms.
Integromat has the custom fields too. The only reason why I'm not using Integromat for this right now is, again, the Google API. It keeps bringing me up issues. It's like, yeah, I'm hoping they're bringing the native integration to YouTube back to Integromat.
Nice. Okay, well, I want to jump to some questions from our viewers for the last 10 minutes. So we've got a few here that have been earmarked. So first one from Dario said, I see you use Whimsical, so I want to know how come you don't use mind maps from ClickUp? Okay, so difference between Whimsical or another flowchart software and mind maps in ClickUp.
That is an easy answer. Just look at this beauty. I love mind mapping in ClickUp. I use it often enough to lay out the structure in general, just lists and stuff. But when I work with clients, I easily can mark, again, there's a potential for automation. I got my little robot right there. I have the little emoji there. It's a whole nother level from just mind mapping to actually full on wireframing.
And I'll chuck in a note there to say that mind maps in ClickUp stick to the traditional mind map structure. They are proper mind maps, which means everything is linked back to one root node. Whereas what you just saw on screen that V had was multiple chunks all on the same page, which you can't do in ClickUp. And that tends to be pretty useful. So usually when someone goes to a mind mapping tool, it's because they want to kind of just chuck things all over the page rather than have it all linked to a single central node.
I'm going to steal that explanation from you too. I didn't even think about it that way. But yeah, it's like my brain is so all over the place. I literally have in arm's length 3 different whiteboards. That's how crazy my head is.
Yeah. Okay, next question from Jessica is, can you repeat or replay again with the integration you used to pull the videos back in? Okay, so that's just more...
that question probably came in before we went back into that, I'm guessing.
So I might just overview that. So
there is, again, just to give a short roundup, you have automate.io, which I'm just starting to test. Integromat, which is a pretty big one that does allow for the custom fields and ClickUp and all of that, but it can get really, really nerdy, though cheaper than Zapier. You have Zapier, but you might have to set up some parsing and that kind of thing to be able to pull out information when you are pulling in a ClickUp task. And you cannot put in custom fields into ClickUp if you're moving something into ClickUp. The one I'm using is Integrately. Can they come up with names that are not so close to each other?
I know, right?
It really comes down to look for the tool that has the connections you need and the features you need. So I still run Zapier free for some of my automations because it's just easier.
And the workflow there is when a video is created, create a task and ClickUp, and it just populates with some information about, you know, a link to the video and the description and some other information about the video.
Correct. Do I still have it open? Yes, I actually have it open. You can see on the screen share, you can see the differentiation. This is one that got pulled in from Integrately with the link and everything. Those ones down here are from Zapier, where you don't have, and I chose the YouTube content stage myself. You just get the title and that's it. So it comes down to getting a little bit of nerdy and see what features are available to you and which connections, so you don't have to build your own API integration.
Yep. Okay, next question is from Biggie. The biggest issue I have is to find a way to make the template work. I'm extremely keen to sort out social media within ClickUp, as it's 90% of my workflow. So big question there is, what is the template? Might be talking about the pre-populated ClickUp one.
Yeah, this the templates I have in here, those are custom built. Yes. So with a whole bunch, you've seen about that many custom fields. So when we dive deeper into specific lists, there's even more custom fields in there where we are adding the blog URL and all kinds of things. So yeah, this is not a standard ClickUp template we are using.
Cool. If you are interested in these templates, I would suggest contacting her. I don't know exactly what she has going on.
There might be academy.askYvi.com, just saying. I didn't want to sell my own templates, but they are available.
Nice. Okay, from Jessica, what are your recommendations for internal creation? So I work for a company that has several products with different tones across B2B and B2C. Okay, it's like different voices, I guess, for social media. I manage all social media. Started in January. Prior to that, there was no strategy. So very new. Right now, one main channel.
Yeah, I pulled it up so I can read it with you. Okay, let's sort this out here for a second. So internal creation, cool. You were running it for the company. Several products with different tones across B2B and B2C. You are managing all social media, started in January. There was no strategy. So you're building the strategy, not necessarily a bad thing, because fighting old strategy can be way more difficult than building your own. Okay, so you have organized across 8 internal topics, products, and focus areas, and then within those more subtopics. There is, if I'm reading this all right, and if I'm envisioning this all right, there is a combination of things happening. One, I definitely would have, quote, a brand folder or list. Matters how big we need to take all of this. It really comes down to needing to understand your business more. But having a resource list for you for each of those tones, if that is different colors, if that is brand voices, I would treat those products like separate clients. If they are set up differently, if they have different tones, if they have their own social media accounts potentially, you have different hex colors or all kinds of things. If I'm understanding this right, what I would do is with 8+ products, it's really not that bad setting them up as separate. Matters how much tasks are going on if you want to set them up as product space and then folders underneath, and running each of those product folders like we would run a social media management client. Or if you actually want to go space. Right now, gut feeling, not knowing how your company is really set up and how much is going on and all of that thing, gut feeling right now is I would pull them into a folder and go the structure of social media manager.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. If there are any products that have the same kind of tone, I'd kind of group them together in that folder. But otherwise, yeah, you need to separate the tones because they're totally different social media.
Perfect use case scenario. I ran a challenge that is completely off brand from my regular business. It became its own folder with its own brand assets in there, with its own SOP, because simply it was different to what my everyday business is.
Yeah, nice. Okay, next question from Caroline. Okay, why are you exporting in CSV? I don't understand the purpose.
To be able to collect a whole bunch of data all at the same time. So what that CSV does is it's pretty much just a different version of an Excel spreadsheet with my 30 posts for the whole month. And I take all of those posts and upload them all in one swoop up into ClickUp, and it automatically does all the rest. So if you do, there's two approaches with that bulk upload. If you build that spreadsheet in a way that you already have your published date and your published time in there, you literally just grab that, upload it to a Go Up Holds, attach the images to it, and you are done. If you were queuing things, you don't need to add any due dates to it or any timing. You literally just grab the same file and you tell a Go Up Holds, that's my post, that's my image, done. Now, the nice thing is you can either way say, okay, I want to post this to Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and all at the same time, and I just do one upload. Now, I agree, we should change our images between LinkedIn and Twitter and Instagram and Twitter and actually do the right images. That's when you multiple upload and you just upload it for Instagram first, and then you upload it for Twitter, and then you upload it for LinkedIn. It's doing that spreadsheet, doing that CSV. CSV is literally just another type of Excel spreadsheet where it just cramples the data together, just allows you to be efficient. You don't have to grab one piece there and put it there, and then grab one piece there and put it there. It collects it all together, and you literally just take that chunk and upload it right there.
Nice. Okay, next question.
I hate wasting time.
Yeah. Next question is, can we get a simple example of what the structure would look like for just making a post to Facebook?
Just one single post to Facebook? Go to Facebook and post it.
Yeah.
Again, it's just because you can doesn't mean you should. I am all for saving time, being efficient, and just getting it done. I am still on my phone. Oh, something just popped up. I need to let my community know. I'm taking the phone and I'm posting it. That's what I got analytics for. That's what I got reports for, where we are pulling data back down again and then make decision of. It doesn't matter how I schedule it. It doesn't matter how it goes up there. In ClickUp itself is really just when we are task managing, when there is more happening. In our case, again, we're working out of spreadsheets. I have played around with table view in ClickUp. I'm trying to make this work right now just because I'm nerdy enough to just spend a weekend in ClickUp and test things. I'm not quite there yet where I can download the table view from ClickUp as a CSV and make it work. I need to play around with some more custom fields in that. So with that, right now, we just have a spreadsheet view embedded in ClickUp. So mass production of content is still happening within ClickUp. I don't send the team anywhere else. It's just that embed view, and go work on it. You can edit in the embed view from Google Drive right there. But yeah, one single post, just go to Facebook, make your life easy.
And that's a really important point. So if you are working in the spreadsheets directly, Google Sheets is great because you can embed it into ClickUp, can be a view in ClickUp, and it's fully editable. If you use Microsoft Excel, you can edit in ClickUp, but it will not save. So if you're going to be embedding into ClickUp, usually best to go with Google Sheets.
And Airtable doesn't allow any editing. It's view only.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay, we're about at time there. There's a couple of questions we didn't get to. Sorry about that, guys. Someone asked, what is the name of your academy again?
It is, Justin, you have my link. It's just so you know how to spell AskYvi.
Oh, yes.
You got that.
Here we go. There.
I already had like 3 lives today, so excuse me when I'm losing my language. So you can see the website right there, AskYvi.com. There is a link right on top in the menu of Academy Learning Store something. It will link you to the Academy, or it's academy.askyvi.com. Disclaimer, I literally just built these templates and updated it from what it originally was. They are getting all updated in May when I'm done with my 30-day bootcamp. So if you decide to grab the templates right now, they're looking a little bit different. They're getting updated in May, and you are in for all of the updates.
Awesome.
I don't want anybody to get mad at me because they look a little bit different right now. The structure is still similar. You're still going to see the structure as I have it, but the end result is just a little bit different.
Awesome. Cool. All right. So if anyone wants to find more about Von and what she's doing, here are the links. We've got website, YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. We'll probably need to wrap up there for today. But thank you very much, Von, for coming on. This has been super awesome. A lot of stuff that if I'm good, I will use in my own social media. So thank you for that.
We all go through seasons. Through seasons. I don't think I had any content really go out in March. But that's where Evergreen Content comes in. Again, I was still showing up. Just fill up that Evergreen Content queue and you'll be fine.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you everyone for joining in with us, and we'll see you next time.
Bye, everybody.